Welcome, guys, to the course Critical Thinking and Practical Reasoning. We're still looking at causal arguments and we're on session 5, anecdotal evidence and doubtful causal claims. Let's start. The aim of this session is to explain what anecdotal evidence means, doubtful causal claims, and hypothesis, mention the elements of doubtful causal claims and hypothesis, and demonstrate some claims that could be termed as ambiguous or vague. We are going to explain appeal to ignorance, fallacy, false dilemma, and also illustrate with good examples the fallacies of equivocation and amphiboly. Let's go ahead. An appeal to anecdotal evidence is also causal claim that happens when one tries to prove or disprove that X is the causal agent or factor for Y by citing an example or two of an X that did or did not cause a Y. So look at an example here. Y occurred once with X. Therefore, Y will occur every time with X. And that is an appeal to anecdotal evidence, some short story or earlier evidence set. So that short story earlier evidence is set as supportive evidence for further or future cases like that. The second example says, my grandfather was a heavy smoker most of his life, but he lived to 90 years old. Therefore, smoking is not harmful to people. And this is how appeal to anecdotal evidences may lead us to drawing wrong conclusions. Appeal to ignorance, which we already treated in Unit 1, Session 6, made us understand that this happens when one concludes that because a claim has not been proven, it must be false, or because a claim has not been disproved, then it must be true. This fallacy can be a product of an appeal to anecdotal evidence because an example not yet sampled may prove contrary. Let's look at an example here. Since the class has no questions concerning the topics discussed in class, the class is ready for a test. Now that is an appeal to ignorance, and this could be from an appeal to anecdotal evidence. A false dilemma is a technique in reasoning where one is presented with limited positions to consider on an issue than the actual alternatives available. Typically, the arguer presents two options when in fact there are more. This fallacy can be a product of an appeal to anecdotal evidence because citing limited examples may insinuate the absence of any other examples. Look at this example we have here. It is either you buy this car or you stick to walking, right? And this is a false dilemma. Secularity and begging the question. And this fallacy occurs when the supposed cause of an event merely restates the effect. When your doctor tells you you can't sleep because you are suffering from sleeplessness or insomnia, the doctor is committing a secularity or begging the question. Of course, you not being able to sleep is just a state of insomnia, so you're just repeating yourself. My client is not guilty. He is not abusive, said his lawyer. Of course, if you're abusive, you are guilty. If you're not guilty, then you're not abusive. A non-testable claim is a claim that can be tested or at least have no way of testing whether they are true or false. Ebola is God's punishment for evil. How do we verify that? I don't think there's any way to do that. The balls fall to the ground because mischievous invisible unicorns want it too. And how do we verify these mischievous invisible unicorns? I don't think there's a way to verify them. An ambiguity, which is also under doubtful causal claims, occurs when a term or phrase or sentence expresses more than one meaning. I think we've looked at this already in Unit 1. However, we are looking at fallacy of amphiboly and fallacy of equivocation here. So we know an amphiboly to occur when the grammar or statement is such that several distinct meanings can be obtained. So the governor says save soap and waste water. So soap is more valuable than water. This statement can have diverse meanings, and such an argument has a fallacy of what? Amphiboly. Fallacy of equivocation. This happens when a key term, phrase, or in an argument is used in an ambiguous way with one meaning in one portion of the argument and the other meaning in another portion of the argument. I have the right to watch the real world. Therefore, it is right for me to watch the show. And that is a fallacy of what? Equivocation. Vagueness. Vagueness in critical thinking is an unclear situation with insufficient detail. He is a tall man, skinny but little fat with black pupils. This example doesn't point to any person. It just gives vague descriptions of somebody. Example 2. A person is a pattern of behavior of a larger awareness. And this could come from a philosopher of mind or a psychologist. And if they describe a person like this, they've not actually given any detail to who the person is, or that detail presented is not sufficient enough to particularize somebody or make any form of specificity. This session has shown that causal claims can suffer inherent defect, most notably begging the question, false dilemma, appeal to ignorance, non-testable claims, ambiguity, vagueness, and dependence on unnecessary assumptions can conflict with well-established theory. Thank you very much. We meet some other time in the next session. Bye.